Hello, how are you out there? I was planning in this tutorial, which is the fifth one, number 5 tutorial about learning chess. I had planned to start playing to start structuring a game, how it will develop well with more pieces coming out, but I changed my mind. I decided that I will be the sixth tutorial that I will teach you. This fifth tutorial, number 5, on learning chess. I decided to give you an additional explanation about the importance of pawns, which, as I explained before, there are in the front line. They are like they simulate the regular soldiers without ranking in a regular army in a battlefield. Usually, these soldiers are sent to the front and to face the enemy. And in the old days, they were the first one getting the arrows of the advancing army, getting the fire from the catapults, and so we're the first one that were sent in the front line to sacrifice themselves, so the lines that came after, they were stronger, could battle an army that was worn out, just semi-tired of being fighting the regular army, the regular soldiers. So in chess, the pawns has tremendous importance. It's not the value, the ranking value of 1 or the numerical value of 1. A pawn can, as I will show you later on in this tutorial, they have great importance because they're when they're locked up, like right here in the commencement, in the setting, the home position, all the pieces here. Okay, you see the position, all the pieces here. That's the home position there. No move have been made. Okay. When they start moving, like in this case, let's say that the game develops this way now. Okay. These 3 pawns here are very powerful. They're pretty much blocking all the attack from bishop that might come from diagonal, from the black diagonal here. They're also blocking right here the attack from here. They are blocking the attack from columns and from diagonals and from everything. So they are very powerful because they had this locked. They had this one. This pawn here is being protected by this one right behind it in the square and diagonal behind it, and this pawn here is protected by this one behind it. So in order for the opposing army to knock down this pawn here, it can be done with one of his pawns. So like this black had this pawn here, and this one can take it here, but this one take it right there. Okay, but sometimes the opposite army don't have the this option to take a pawn with a pawn, so sometimes they have to sacrifice a bigger piece, like let's say a horse, like this knight here is attacking this point, this point here where this pawn is. So if this knight were to take that pawn, the blacks get 1 pawn down, which is value is 1, but then the white pawn here takes the knight, so the black piece loses an officer of their army, which has a value of 5.5, more or less. So pawns also are blockers, so the advancing because of this capacity that they have to lock up, to be one behind the other and create a tremendous fortress, tremendous barrier there. They just block the lines of attack. They block, as I said before, diagonals, columns, and rows. But at the same time, they're just moving forward, and that's in some way distressing for the opposite team when this is happening. The opposite team has the capacity to do basically the same. So there are games in which the pawn seems to be the dominant force there, because they're the one taking the midfield, like in a soccer game or a football game. One team just capture the middle of the field. They had options in moving in different directions and do some changing in game planning, etc. So in this sense, pawns are very important. They're not to be wasted uselessly. They're supposed to be played with the same importance that you play one of the other higher value pieces like bishop, knights, rooks, king, and queen. So in this sense, and also there is some a special entitlement or greatness that the pawn have that no other piece in chess, including the queen, have. And this is that a pawn can be upgraded to be any officer. The pawn can become. This is kind of strange because there is no other game or other in planet Earth this happen, but it happens in chess, where a pawn can become any other piece. The officer, they can become a rook, it can become a knight, it can become a bishop, it can become a queen. It can become even a king. There are cases in which two kings have been in a chess game, which is very weird, but odd, but and rare. But it happens sometimes. So I'm gonna show you when a pawn can be upgraded or gain a different ranking and be the one who saves a game. Okay, let's show you this case here, this scenario in which and this happen. This usually happen when the game is a game is or a match is ending, no? So there have been a lot of loss of pieces. There have been a lot of simplification that we'll talk about later, about simplifying the game, which means to finish the game with the minimum of pieces, less pieces than when we started. Usually in simplification, at the beginning of the game we start with 32 blacks, 32 white pieces. When some games are ending, they're like they can be 10, 5 each one, or 6 and 4 of the other team. Pawns are to be the sacrificial lambs in the game. They are supposed to be eliminated when you reach a point in the middle game, when the game is half done. But there can be this odds times when the pawns, there can be one or two pawns that are survivors, and let's say this one here. Let's say this one here that is moving in the column, the A column here, which is the first column on the left, and it's in the address 68. So it's in the 6th row and in the A column. So it's right here. So let's put this scenario here in which the blacks have the bishop, surviving bishop here still in the game. This bishop is attacking the, or is in the scope of that can attack any piece that try to get here to the 8 AB square, which is a black square. This is usually where knight at the beginning of the game, knight goes to stay here in the AB position. So this black bishop here is attacking the line, but the white has the move right now. For some reason, this is hypothetical. All of this, I don't have to explain to you what happened before, why this is the case. The importance of this explanation is for you to know that a pawn can be upgraded to a higher level and can be exchanged for a piece of higher level, including for a queen. So the whites have to play now. So this white pawn here, very smart, smarty pants guy. So he can move to the 7A position here in that column. Okay. So the blacks don't have any piece now that can impede this pawn to go to the A8, number 8, A letter, number 8A. The king don't have other pieces that are helping too much, so he tried to block it. He next move for the black, so the king come here, and the bishop, his black bishop is attacking just the A pawn, the AB position where the black knight is at home position when the game starts. So now the last move, the white came here. The black responded by moving the king to here, trying to stop these pawns. There are two pawns here, very powerful, and the blacks they had no way of impeding this pawn in the 7A position to move up to the 8A position. So blacks are pretty much done here because the next move, unless the player that is playing the white falls asleep, the next move, the next logical and very important move for the whites is to move the pawn from the 7A position to the 8A position. So he has totally invaded the lines of the blacks. He has penetrated the lines of the black pieces. So what happened next? Well, in chess, when this happens, the player that does in this case the white the player playing the white pieces, he's the one that moves his pawn from the 7A to the 8. He can ask for any piece to replace this pawn. So this pawn can be replaced, and he can ask for a replacement, any replacement he wants. He can ask for a bishop So this pawn becomes this white pawn becomes a bishop, which has the value of 5.5, and the pawn only has the value, nominal value of 1. So now this piece can be changed by a bishop, but also these pawns can the white player, or the player playing the white pieces, he can ask for a higher piece. He can ask for a rook. So this pawn can become this white pawn can become a white rook, a white rook, yeah. So it has a white rook. Replace the pawn 1 for a rook. His value is about 7 points. Or he can ask for a queen. This is the most frequent thing that we do when we play chess, and we had. And this is called crown a pawn. The pawn is crowned once it reaches the opposite team line, first line that they have, where they have the officer. In this case, the A line, or it can be here in the AB, or in any of this line here. The white pawn move and reach that row, which is the 8th row for the blacks. Any other square that a black pawn reaches that square, and he's not under attack, and nobody has attacked him when he reaches that square, he can ask for any other piece, like I said before. And usually what they ask is for a queen, because the queen is the one with the highest value. Ask for a queen. But I had another player had the chance to ask for other piece that in a condition where the black king will be under direct check in that moment. So sometimes that happens by asking, and it can be checkmate also. It can happen with the with a king that can be checkmate using a knight instead of this player asking for a queen, which is required 2 or 3 more moves for a checkmate. Let's say that. If he asks for a knight, which has a low, which has a lower value than a queen, is an immediate checkmate. So this is what can happen in chess with the pawns, and this is one of the reasons why the pawns should be used with a lot of care, not waste them, because they don't seem to have too much of value, because they only can move at the beginning, as I said before in another tutorial. They can move at the opening. They can move 1 or 2 spaces. Afterwards, they move just 1 space, 1 square at a time. While the bishop can move a lot of squares in diagonal, and the same with the queen, and the same with the knights. The knights can move only in L position, 3 squares at a time, plus 1 to the side to form an L. But the pawns during most of the game, as pawns, they just move 1 square forward. Pawns cannot move backward, just forward. If there is a piece, black piece here, this pawn is not attacking that piece, because it doesn't attack anything behind it. It only attacks something that is on this side in diagonal. He can take a piece like this bishop here, like I explained before, and this pawn can take this bishop. But if this bishop is right here, the pawn cannot take it. Or if there is another pawn, black pawn here, blocking, this black pawn is blocking this, and neither pawn can move. Neither black can move forward to the white position, or the white pawn can move forward to the occupy the black pawn position. But they only can attack. This white pawn can, if it's his turn to move, he can just take this pawn here. If he wants to, he can take it. Okay. There is not an obligation in chess to any piece take another piece unless you see an strategical gain in this advantage. You see that you're gonna take advantage, positional advantage, or piece advantage. You take a piece. Otherwise, you don't do it. And when pieces are being taken frequently, it's because one or two of the players want simplification, want to reduce the number of combatants in the battlefield, so they try to take out many pieces to have final with fewer pieces. And one of the reasons for this is chess is it can be a very complex game. I said in one of the tutorials that chess is the most, let's say, intellectual, can be the most intellectual or brain power user of all the games. More than you play soccer, more than you play football, more than you play basketball, more than you play volleyball, more than you play any other game, don't require the mental ability like chess does. And chess was, when they invented it, I had no geographical point on planet Earth to know exactly where chess started. There are many guesses. In my opinion, it started somewhere in the British Empire. And I say this because of the thing that the game has kingdoms, representation of kingdoms, kings, queens, and all that, bishops, and all that. They were just in kingdoms, and also because of the names of pieces like knights. Knights. The British had knights, and knights were just officers that were riding horses. That's why the knights here in the chess game had the upper body, the head and the neck of a horse, representing the knights that used to ride on horses, and they were very formidable combatants, and they had shields, and they were very hard to knock down to the ground or kill or wound. So chess is a very intellectual game in the sense that you have to use your brain, because the idea, not when you're playing a friendly game, and later on I will tell you many ways of playing chess. There is something called speed chess that is very fun to play, very exciting, exhilarating. I have played in tournaments, and there are prizes you win. And speed chess is controlled by something else that I'm going to explain later on, time clocks. And later on, I will explain to you how many ways are that you lose a game. You can lose a game not just for checking mate the king, but you can lose a game if you are playing with a clock, time clock. With each player has a assigned time to play, and one of the player loses his time, and the other one has more time. The one that has more time, even when the one that has more time has lesser pieces and lesser position in the chessboard to win the game, the one that has the time, when that flag, those time clocks, they had like a flag. It's like a spindle that falls. When that spindle falls vertically, and it swings from the top, and when it falls down vertically, the game is over for the player that had the flag falling on him. So it doesn't matter if he had, at that particular moment, he could, in the next move, he could checkmate the opposite team. No, he lost, because it's flag, the time expires. So there are many ways of losing a chess game, and there are draws also, times when neither player wins. They call it draw. It's a draw. It's a tie. It's a tie, like when a team is playing soccer, they score 2 goals, and the other team score 2 goals, and the time 90 minutes is done. They reach the 90-minute limit of playing. That's it. That's a tie. That's a draw. It's no winner there. So in chess, it's the same. There are moments in which neither chess player has any piece advantage. There are similar pieces and fewer pieces to corral each other, corral each other's king. So there are repetition of move from each player, and neither one can corner up the opposite king, and therefore a draw is declared, and neither player won the game. So there are this thing here. But I wanted just to tell you about the pawns, this unique capability that they had to become the lower soldier, the lower ranking, the spy, they say the spies officer in the army. Nobody looks at them because they're pawns. They're regular soldiers. They receive training in the military academy or whatever, and they had the capability of becoming a queen or a king. They can also, the pawn can ask to be another king. So you have 2 kings in the game, but that happened very rarely. Usually ask for a queen, and in very rare occasion ask for another piece. So this is what I wanted to explain to you in this tutorial, and we'll try to play in the next one. We'll try to play a game more, make more move the pieces more, and do some reduction of pieces in the board, so you know when reduction of pieces is